American families are spending more, but we probably didn't have to tell you that. A lot of people are feeling that, but there are numbers that back it up. In particular, spending about $493 more a month than they were spending last year on the same goods and services. That number comes to us from the financial services company Moody's Analytics. Well, in response to what we're seeing, record inflation, Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley has introduced the Family and Community Inflation Relief Act. The hope here is that it's going to help Americans struggling to afford everyday expenses. And the senator now joins us from the Capitol. Senator, good to have you here on the program. Welcome. And what you want to do here is to tie inflation to some of these tax credits, in particular the child tax credit. Say, hey, if inflation goes up, then your tax credit dollars should go up as well. Is that the general idea, and can this work?
You've got it exactly right, but I want to emphasize what you've already said, that I'm hearing from Iowa families about inflation, and you had a figure of something like $400 and some it's costing Iowa family, I think, is $670. But updating the income tax code to reflect this inflation is very important. We're doing it through indexing provisions of the tax code that haven't been indexed. Some of them have, and maybe why we didn't do it before is because when you have 10 years of 2% inflation, it's not much of a problem. But when we have 9% inflation now, these tax provisions that are supposed to help low-income and middle-income families are not updated, and they're going to be of little value with 9% inflation. So we're trying to touch some parts of the tax code with indexing so that it reflects the 9% inflation and still will benefit middle income and low income families.
And I know you're going after other tax credits as well, some education credits, but I mentioned the child tax credit, and a lot of Americans were helped last year with that expanded tax credit that allowed them to get payments, monthly payments from the summer until December. That did go away. But in your proposal, why did you not want to go that route and allow people to get monthly payments again for the child tax credit?
Yeah, okay, I'm glad to answer that, because we doubled the tax credit in the last tax bill, so that reflects the inflation we have now. Now, you may be asking a legitimate question. If this inflation continues for a long period of time, we may have to do that again. But right now, I didn't think it was necessary.
And sir, of course, right now, people need some relief just to keep the lights on, to put food on the table. But the idea of we're fighting inflation because people have more money to spend, is there any concern or any feedback you're hearing, at least? And did you have some in putting this proposal together and giving people more money? They have more money than to spend, and then this will possibly continue this rise in inflation that we're seeing.
Well, we've got other pieces of the tax code that I'm trying to help with increasing savings, because we have incentives for savings, particularly for low-income and middle-income people, that is being hurt by their savings being reduced because of inflation. So we're affecting another part of the tax code through what I call the middle-income savers provisions to encourage more savings and to not tax some of that savings as a result of it. That's kind of indirectly helping the question you asked me. It's not as direct as I think your question implied we should probably be helping.
Can you tell us as well, is one of your major hurdles here going to be how you want to pay for it? You want to extend the cap on that SALT deduction, the state and local tax deduction that many Democrats were against in the first place. Is that going to be one of your major hurdles?
Yeah. Well, it's a major hurdle with Democrats, but they don't want to deal with anything that deals with inflation because they don't want to admit that there is inflation. And it'd help if they would get into the real world on this. But I am extending the cap on state and local income tax deduction. But remember, if we were to do away with that, that would be helping the 5% of the richest people in the country anyway. So I think it's legitimate to keep that cap on and continue it, and then to pay for the bills that I've talked to you about so that it doesn't increase the national debt.
Oh, well, certainly relief can't come soon enough to a lot of Americans. Like you said, inflation now that is some 40-year high that we haven't seen. Senator Grassley, we really appreciate having you here on the program, and certainly good luck. We'll check in with you down the road, okay?
Thank you very much.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.